For those uninterested in recommendations, how does one remove them from their feed?
You have two options. Neither of them are like permanent fixes. And so it will kind of help at least cultivate something a little bit better for you that you might like, but it's not going to remove it entirely.
You know, for those that are uninterested, and even for those that are interested, we have to understand this is where Instagram is going. They want to kind of recommend as many creators that they can. The more creators are happy, they stay on the platform longer, which generates more ads at the end of the day, which is more money in Instagram's pockets. There's also the other aspect of why you might want to keep them on. And what are some of the benefits for keeping recommendations turned on? I have Shante of Sugar Punch Marketing joining me today to discuss Instagram recommendations. This might sound foreign to you. Maybe you're all familiar with it, but you want to know how to best utilize it. First thing first, Shante, is what exactly are Instagram recommendations?
Yeah, I think it's just simplified. If you simplify it, it's what Instagram promotes for other people who aren't following you. So like your suggested posts that show up on your feed, what shows up in the Reels Explore, like hopefully to get your content seen by people who don't follow you.
Simply explain, and I think that's straight to the point in regards to how to kind of explain it.
Yeah.
To create more opportunities for discovery, we've been adding recommendations, content from accounts you don't follow to more places. And some of these places include particularly feeds, but also their Explore page and the Reels tab.
They're trying to keep people engaged and on the app and like wanting to continue posting because they know we're frustrated. Like,
yeah, exactly. There's a level of frustration that they can't ignore.
Exactly.
Well, we know that some of that frustration comes from the fact that people just do not want to see recommendations on their page at all when they're going through the feed. Some people have even stated they feel like they see more recommendations than their actual friends' content that they are following. For those uninterested in recommendations, how does one remove them from their feed?
So you have two options. Neither of them are like permanent fixes, but one option is to sort your tab up in the top left. Hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction, to following, and then you'll only see posts from people that you are following in a chronological order. So it kind of removes the algorithm as far as like what's being engaged with, but you at least won't have any recommended posts showing up on your feed. And then the other option is when you do see a suggested post on your feed, you tap the three little dots and you can say, I'm not interested in this. And so it will kind of help at least cultivate something a little bit better for you that you might like, but it's not going to remove them entirely.
You know, for those that are uninterested, and even for those that are interested, we have to understand this is where Instagram is going. They want to kind of recommend as many creators that they can because they know that ultimately it leads to them creating or generating more money. The more creators are happy, they stay on the platform longer, which generates more ads at the end of the day, which is more money in Instagram's pockets. There's also that other aspect of why you might want to keep them on. And what are some of the benefits for keeping recommendations turned on?
Ideally, you're training the algorithm to show you content that you like and you enjoy, and then you're also supporting other creators. So it kind of depends on what's important to you.
I have to say, honestly, and a lot of people might not agree with my thoughts on this, I like recommendations.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of different accounts and content that I know I would not have found because I'm not generally looking for it. I'm not spending time in the Explore page looking for this particular type of content. And I think it's actually been working in that aspect. Now, is it too much? Maybe. Instagram might have to dial it back a little bit. You know, I do miss seeing some of my own personal friends that usually was taking up a lot of that space. But it is introducing us to a brand new crowd of content creators that we haven't seen before.
I kind of like the recommendations. I don't mind them being on my feed. Not a popular opinion, I think, but
yeah, it's weird too when we know that there's a bigger player or another player on the field that's coming out for Instagram's attention, and that's TikTok.
Yeah.
But when you look at TikTok, by default, they're pretty much doing the same exact thing. I would say even to a higher degree of recommending different creators. That's what you see naturally as soon as you log into TikTok. You don't see those that you're following first. You got to go to your For You page it's pretty much working the same way. And it's funny how they react on TikTok compared to Instagram. And I think maybe just because we were used to something prior.
Yeah, it's very, very different the way that they run. And I feel like people want to see their friends' content on Instagram. Where TikToks, it's more about finding new people. And I don't know.
Now we're speaking obviously from the point of view of those that are consuming content. When we're going on Instagram, we're talking about it from that point of view of what we're seeing. But there's also the other different aspect, the different perspective of those that are creating content. I'm looking at it as when I put out content, how could I benefit from the recommendations? Because that's not helping me for free, no payment. I'm not boosting a post or anything, but for free, Instagram is helping me to promote my account. But there are certain key steps that we have to take in regards to getting that done. We have to kind of show up in our best impression for Instagram to take notice so that they want to recommend our content. So that leads to the next question of how do we take those steps? What do we need to do to help Instagram notice us?
Oh gosh, they have a whole list. But one of the ones that I thought was like a big takeaway was if your content gets a lot of likes, saves, and I think it's shares or maybe comments. I think it might be comments. But if your content gets that and you get a higher number of those throughout the week, then it's going to take it into the recommended as long as check all the other boxes. But that's basically how you single your post out of everyone else's, as it gets likes, comments, and saves.
That just leads to us having to make more engaging content that people will respond to. The content that's just a photo of your burger or whatever you have for lunch, that is not going to work. We have to create what we consider valuable content for those that are watching our posts to actually engage with it. There were a few other things that I noticed that Instagram mentioned in regards to helping promote your content in regards to getting picked up for recommendation. One of them I think is quite obvious, but it has to be stated. It has to be a public account. Now, by default, if you have a business or creator's account, is naturally public. You don't want to hide your content and then have Instagram ignore you because you're hiding it in regards to helping to get recommended. I think you're kind of just defeating the purpose right then and there.
I know that you can't have recently gone against any of their community guidelines or purchase fake engagement, so fake likes, things like that. I also noticed when I was reading it that anyone that has clickbait or engagement bait, they try not to recommend those either.
Now, one of my last questions in regards to Instagram recommendations is, now, like I kind of hinted at before, there's the other big player on the field, is TikTok. And we've had a lot of fight back in regards to Instagram users. I've had personally a lot of friends say that they're leaving Instagram to go to TikTok because their content is performing better, and they don't like the way that Instagram has been changing. Obviously, one of these changes is recommendations. I want to ask you, are recommendations costing Instagram users? And how do you feel about that if they are, or do you think they're not, and people are just fighting something that is just part of the evolution of the platform? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I know people are leaving in favor of TikTok, but I think when people go over there, they're going to find that they have different uses. So TikTok's great for getting discovered, but it's not so great for creating a community or engaging with people, where that's a little bit more Instagram, and you can link to things and direct people to your website if you want to, and have shoppable products, and Instagram's set up for that a little bit better. So I think leaving either platform for the other doesn't make sense. I think using them in conjunction, at least for now, is what's the best strategy as far as that goes.
I like that idea to kind of use both in a way, because they are technically hitting different audiences.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what your niche is, it in very respective ways, it's doing that. You're nurturing on one and being discovered on the other. That's how I ultimately look at it.
Yeah.
Really great perspective on that. And I could agree with you as well. I think that Instagram obviously is going through a transition right now. I like to say Instagram is like a teenager right now.
Yeah.
But I like to think that it's going through, the dramatic changes that teenagers go through. They want to rebel. They want to try new things. And that's how I'm looking at Instagram. And they realize that they have to make changes. Certain changes they can make on their own, you know, like the way that the algorithm is going to work. But I think some things the audience, us as a society, are influencing them to make changes on. Video is a very key element to that.
Yeah.
Right now, video is the most demanded type of content. And this is without even considering Reels. Whether it's YouTube, TikTok, or any other platform, video is in high demand, and Instagram is just responding to that. If they didn't, Instagram would be dying within a year or two. Let's just put it that simple, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Instagram just has to go through these changes. They're evolving.
Guys, if you got any value from that conversation between myself and Shante at Sugar Punch Marketing, you know what to do. Hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you can be reminded of when I drop my latest YouTube video. Now that you know everything about Instagram recommendations, it's time to step your gram up. And the best way to do that is to learn how you can grow on Instagram in 2022. Check out the video that I have on the screen for you, and I hope to see you there.